about you, but I am so hyped to have Hugh Jackman reprise his role as the good old Knucklehead in the new Deadpool movie that's right around the corner. Jackman's iconic performance not only popularized Wolverine in mainstream media, but also made me cry. He was too pure for this world. Hugh Jackman is the best there is at what he does in movies. I mean, it helps when he's the only actor to ever play a live-action Wolverine, but how does he stack up against some iconic voice actors? The competition is razor sharp, with voice actors one-upping each other, while others are some of the most head-scratching casting you've ever seen. I'm only going to discuss my top 3 for each section, so if I missed your favorite voice actor, please let me know in the comments. Without further ado, let's dive on into the best and worst Wolverine voice actors. Despite being a prolific voice actor, Hugh Jackman has only voiced our favorite angry gerbil, Wolverine, like twice. Once in X-Men, the official video game, and again in X-Men Origins, Wolverine. For movie tie-in games, having the actors from the films reprise their role is always a good sign. It helps the product feel more authentic. However, it doesn't always work out as expected. I'm looking at you, Tobey Maguire from Spider-Man 1.
Are you serious?
Jackman's first vocal outing as Wolverine in X-Men, the official video game, made me nervous about his performance. His delivery felt flat at times, missing much of the gruffness and intensity we come to associate with the character.
Should've laid off the sushi for lunch, boys.
The more I watched, the clearer it became. The cutscenes were the real culprit here. The comic book style storytelling has its charm, but the character and their realistic art style to mirror the movies added the uncanny to the uncanny X-Men.
No, stop. You're scaring me.
Hugh Jackman's signature expression and iconic lines totally lost in these still frames, leaving his vocal performance hanging in an awkward limbo.
Try that one on for size, darling.
In the often overlooked gem, X-Men Origins Wolverine, all those nagging concerns were finally sliced and diced. Released merely 3 years after the official game, the quantum leap in graphics and animations meant Hugh Jackman's Wolverine could finally pop his claws and let loose. His performance? Sheer adamantium perfection, bro. Arguably even fiercer and more captivating than his big screen rendition. From the intense battle roars to the somber introspection, every moment felt like a mutant masterclass.
I've always been Wolverine, and I've always been alone. I'll probably be alone till the day I die. But that day ain't here yet.
Whether he's slicing through enemies or cracking a joke, Hugh Jackman never fails to inject fun into his X-Men performances. His charisma practically immortalized Wolverine for a generation. Yet, when it comes to voicing Wolverine, let's just say he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. But before we crown the best, let's endure the worst. Buckle up. Another big name actor taking on the role of Canada's shortest king, Mark Hamill. I know what you're thinking. Sucks. Why would Mark Hamill be on the worst list? He's one of the greatest voice actors of all time. I don't know why I made you guys the Burger King burger guy, I'm sorry. Look, I love Mark Hamill to death. The man has been a huge part of my childhood, from a galaxy far, far away to the grimy streets of Gotham. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer for sure, but not for playing Wolverine. Like a lot of you, I had no clue he was even casted as the Tin Man in the 2003 video game X2, Wolverine's Revenge, which is a fucking stupid name.
Am I supposed to thank you, or are you just a lousy shot?
One of Mark Hamill's greatest talents is his vocal control. His ability to fluctuate his voice adds incredible depth to his performances. That's what makes characters like the Joker so devilishly delightful to watch. However, much of that gets lost in his performance as Logan. Hamill dials down the dynamic range to play the role.
Security looks tighter than one of Jean's costumes.
Not that Wolverine isn't an emotional character. Hell, the dude is constantly in his feelings. But the vocal direction of the game didn't capitalize on Hamill's talents. The somber scenes aren't somber enough. The intense scenes lack intensity. For the majority of the game, Logan feels mildly annoyed at best. Like he's fine in a normal conversation, but when shit hits the fan, we don't get a fierce animal ready to tear it up. We get, in Hamill's words,
I am a man.
I also believe Hamill focuses too hard to be what everyone thinks Wolverine should sound like, instead of making the character his own. According to this behind the scenes clip from the making of X2,
because once you've got the part you think, gee, now I have the world looking to see whether I
at least match what they think he must sound like. And I had to do a little bit more work on Wolverine.
Wolverine isn't an angry short guy. He's a complex, brooding character with layers of depth and subtlety. And Mark Hamill is no stranger to voicing characters with nuance. Just look at his portrayal of Art from Invincible. I believe Mark Hamill was miscast as Wolverine for this project, and the vocal direction didn't help his case. Though far from the worst voice actor for Wolverine on this list, it still feels like a wasted opportunity for such a high caliber voice actor. What do you guys think? Am I being too harsh on the guy? Comment below and let me know.
Tell Cyclops I made him a convertible.
People will argue that Cal Dodd set the standard for Wolverine. It's a fair argument because Dodd voiced Wolverine at such a critical period of the X-Men. The 90s animated cartoon introduced the character to snot-nosed kids like me who's never seen an X-Men comic before in their life. The Capcom developed fighting game series continued that Berserker barrage, cementing these children of Adam as household names, with Cal Dodd at the forefront of it all.
Thinking punk. Question is, can I get Wolverine before he turns me into shish kebab with those claws?
The toughest nails persona wasn't always customary for Wolverine, as you'll see with our next voice actor. Dodd wrote the template for what makes a great Wolverine with his deep, gravelly voice that still manages to have a surprising emotional depth. One moment he's tearing up Sentinels, next he's having a picnic with Storm. Talk about range. What also adds to the greatness of Dodd's performance is a perfect blend of confidence and being an absolute menace.
Where's that blasted salami? Okay, round boy. What's he doing? Taking a nap? This kid's crying. Do something.
Dodd's consistency in the role is superb as well. Though not the longest tenured Wolverine, all of his performances feel like they're the same version of the character. I was so thrilled when he returned to voice Wolvie in the X-Men 97 show. He's truly immortalized in adamantium. Cal Dodd was the first voice actor to popularize Wolverine. But did you know the first actor to voice him was actually Billy Calloway in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends? This marked the very first time Wolverine even appeared on the silver screen. And for some baffling reason, he had an Australian accent?
How you doing? Want a piece of fruit?
Which is so odd because being Canadian is one of Logan's most iconic character traits. He even ranks number 3 in my top 5 Canadians, only being beaten out by Robin Scherbatsky from How I Met Your Mother and Jim Carrey.
The country needs you. I'm Canadian.
In my research, I found nothing about why Billy Calloway chose to go with an Australian accent. Funny enough, Wolverine would later be played by an actual Australian in the live action movies. But Calloway was a hot-blooded American. Some speculate it was because the Australian accent was trending in the media at the time. To no one's surprise, it didn't work for Wolverine.
Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
I mean, it's hard enough to take a short furry man with anger issues seriously without him sounding like he's a few stubbies short of a six-pack. To make matters worse, Wolverine's second animated outing in the failed pilot The Pride of the X-Men had him also speak with an Australian accent. This time voiced by Patrick Penny, another American. Though his personality was more in line with comic book Wolverine, the harsh Aussie accent clashed starkly with the character's serious nature.
Welcome her. Wait, she's not joining the X-Men, is she? She's just a kid.
However, Aussie Wolverine bullying Kitty Pryde with that voice is so funny.
Tell Cyclops I made him a convertible.
Steve Blum is the definitive Wolverine voice. There's no debating that. When I read a Wolverine comic, I hear Steve Blum. When I pour some maple syrup on my pancakes, I hear Steve Blum. When my cat scratches the ever-living shit out of me with her claws, I hear Steve Blum. It makes perfect sense since he's been voicing the character in nearly every form of media since 2004.
I'm Steve Blum and I'm a voice monkey.
Cal Dodd walked so Steve Blum could run, improvising on every aspect of the performance. Blum naturally has like a rough and gruff voice, which makes playing the role easier for him.
I cry. I mean, I sit at these signing tables sometimes and I cry with people and I look into their eyes and I want to hear their story.
He doesn't really need to focus on nailing the tone of the character, so instead he can put all of his efforts in getting the little details right. Blum truly understands the fundamental of what makes Wolverine great, which in turn helps him land roles for a variety of different Wolverines across different media. One project, he's your typical brooding Weapon X. The next, he's just a silly little guy. There's not much more to say, the dude just nails it. A role he was destined to play. Now, the question remains, is Insomniac going to cast him to play Wolverine? Or do you think they're gonna hire some new blood like they did for Spider-Man? Comment below and let me know. Just like Mark Hamill, I had absolutely no clue that Matt Mercer voiced Wolverine, though be it in a Marvel pinball game. If you don't remember who Matt Mercer is, let me give you a quick refresher.
What's wrong? Not enjoying yourself so much anymore?
Who taught you to fight like that?
Running a little slow, Flash.
Oh, where are my manners?
So obviously he's a top tier voice actor who's been working all over the industry. So we should be in good hands, right?
I'm the best there is at what I do. But what I do best isn't very nice.
That was bad. It feels like the only direction he was given in the studio was just be low and angry. Marvel Pinball came out in 2010, which is a hefty amount of time ago, but it wasn't like Mercer was struggling to nail gigs. At this point of his career, he already had big projects like Sailor Moon and Street Fighter. I don't know, maybe he just wanted to play Wolverine. Wouldn't you, given the opportunity? Regardless, he's by far the worst Wolverine. Well, there you have it. The best there is and the worst there is of Wolverine voice actors. I know I missed a few like Scott McNeil, who's probably the most daddy Wolverine in media, but I wanted to keep this list just in my top 3. So, who's your favorite Wolverine performance? And is Hugh Jackman better than Steve Blum? Comment below and let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, fair winds and safe travels.